Dreams of trying making missions around the world. Now I am certain I don't want any other girl. You are one in a million. Bella Kuala, you vibe. Let's have some children. Go look up, go Rachel. Oh no 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 no, oh no 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 no. Oh no, pull us up, go Rachel. Oh no 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 no, oh no 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 no.
B87.7. This has gotta be, in recent times, one of the sickest hip-hop beats I've heard. What's happening, Moody? Killer, go. I see obvious too. I see obvious too. I see obvious too. Can't remember names. Popularity sucks.
Yes. It's that time of the day. It's that time on the show where we introduce our guest on the show today. Vector is on air right now. Vector, can you hear me clearly?
Listen, and since I got popular, they steady be trying to blast me.
Vector.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, I can hear you clearly.
Yes, welcome on Afrobeats in the morning, Boston 7.7 FM with VIBEMASTER DJ JD and Richardine Bartee. How you doing this morning, brother? And it's afternoon in Nigeria.
Yes, so I'm blessed. It's after 2 in Nigeria, but we're good. We're kicking it.
Yes. Boston is not bad. We're back on the spring weather, so it's nice. As an African brother, I'm so glad it's not cold anymore. How is it like in Lagos now? I know COVID is gradually blowing away. People are getting vaccines. Are you vaccinated yet, or are you planning to or not?
I mean, everywhere is good in Nigeria. The vaccination process is ongoing, so it's gradual, but it will circulate very soon, hopefully.
Yes. And the last 1 month, you've been dropping singles. This is going to be your third single you dropped yesterday. Tell us about all of the songs that you've dropped. Before I let you talk about this, let me let you introduce yourself to those that don't know about Vector the Viper, and is here this morning with the Venom.
Hey guys, what's up? It's your man Vector the Viper, aka VBC. Lafiaji representing Lagos Island, Nigeria, Africa. Yeah, we here.
Yes, I like the fact that you always pull Lafiaji, you always pull Barracks representing Lagos Island. Yeah. I'm also a Lagos Island boy. I'm from Igbo Shere, so I can relate why you always represent strong.
My mom used to have a restaurant at Igbo Shere opposite City Hall.
Wow.
On top.
So you're my Lagos brother, practically.
Yes.
Yes, it's good to have Vector on the show this morning. Vector, walk us through those songs that you dropped in the last 1 month. You dropped one with Good Girl Ellie Momo, and then you dropped another one with another rapper, strong rapper in Africa, in Nigeria, MI. Tell us about those tracks before we come to Obedience.
Yeah, Early Momo is something that we cooked up and released on Valentine's. I felt like there was too much negative news everywhere, from 2020 and COVID into SARS in Nigeria, into protests. Just a lot of things, just like into, say, conversations about corruption every day in the news, money missing, this, that. It was just crazy. So even I had totally forgotten that something like love exists. So when we released that record, it was a breath of fresh air, even for me, as the artist that owned the record, because it showed me more that there are still people holding on to love, and showed me that people are still in love. I thought everything was just plenty problem before this, but it's been a big hit and a huge success since then.
Right.
Yeah.
And this month, before we go into the song with MI. Let me say this about you to the people that are just listening right now. This man has been in the game since 2011. As a rapper in Nigeria, is one of like the toughest genres to do in Nigeria, but he has been in the game and has stayed relevant. Tell us, how have you been able to do this for those up-and-coming artists, rappers that are trying to go into the same genre? How have you been able to do it? Have you been able to keep up with all the pressure and the buhahas happening? You know how Nigerians are. If it's not jollof rice music, they are not bending towards it.
Well, the thing is, the only thing I can say to anybody who's trying to be a rapper is just be a rapper.
Right.
That's all. Be a rapper and be strong about what you are. It's actually that simple. And be content. Be content, because if you are a rapper and you're considering the profits or the benefits that pop or Afrobeats or Afropop or whatever title it goes by these days, if you look at those things, you will most likely be frustrated or you feel like a suffocation of some sort if you try to gauge numbers and all these things. So for me, it's more like just stay yourself and be content with who you are and constantly develop that, and you'll be fine.
Right. You have to have the right passion. You have to be content with what you have, and you have to be ready to push, like the man Vector.
Yeah.
So tell us, this man is the king of word plays. How has Lagos Island, Barracks, been able to influence you? Because I know you always represent every time your name comes up. You always represent Lagos Island. You always mention it. How has Barracks and Lagos Island influenced your music?
It's been very it's very instrumental to anything. So, for example, the life in the barracks is a tough one for both parents and kids. It's a tough one. So, if you can survive the average barrack life, I'm not sure there's anything in the world that can stop you. So, if at all there's a truth that there's perseverance in my entire career, being from the barrack and Lagos Island is one of the reasons why I can persevere, right? Because it comes with its own discipline.
Right.
Lagos Island, of course, we own slang age, and from a young age, if you're a Lagos Island boy, you have style. There's a lot of style around, like from urban fittings to native attires, anything. There's just always jewelry, lifestyle, faji.
Yes, so
It's plenty. So all those, I feel, are also perks and sparks that helps your talent when you're making music. Because if you're from Lagos Island, you understand Bedu, you understand Alujo. So
right.
It should be easy for you to make, I put my hand on my head when I see you move your waist, right?
Right.
But if you're also from Lagos Island, you know what it means to live a hard life, because there's also a lot of gang violence going on there. But then there's also a lot of love going on there as well. So it's pretty much as basic as every aspect of life is visible throughout my own life as a barrack boy and as a Lagos Island boy.
Right. Growing up as a Lagos Island boy, Lagos, for those that don't know, is the commercial city of Africa. Not just Nigeria alone. That's where everything goes down. If you're from Lagos, if you never get sense and you're from Lagos, then I don't know what to say to you.
You don't get sense again, no.
Exactly. And you're from Lagos and you're anywhere in the world, I'm sure you're represented well because you learned from being in Lagos. Let's talk about that track with the man MI. You guys been back and forth, standard industry rapper issue. I don't think there's anything deeper than just being two rappers, solid rappers, that people want to play against each other. Tell us how you guys were able to come together again and work after almost a decade of back and forth with beef, which is actually industry standard as far as I'm concerned. It makes it more interesting for rappers to, put in work to what they are doing. Tell us about that.
It really is simple. So we had this gig with Hennessy, who wanted us to come together and make an EP, but then before then we were supposed to have a conversation and pretty much highlight how, how as black people almost okay for us to maybe hurt ourselves or
Right.
fight ourselves, or worst case, kill ourselves, simply because we believe that we are better than ourselves or stronger than ourselves, which doesn't make sense.
Right.
And I dare branch into say what I heard Nipsey Hussle say at some point as well. It was like, even with him, it stopped making sense at some point that it was cool for you to look at somebody who is exactly like you, believes in the same things you believe in, and you just want to take the person's life, right?
Right.
And it makes sense for you as a role model to a lot of people to show why it doesn't have to become a Biggie and Park situation.
Right.
Because trust me, it easily becomes that. You have fans all over the country, all over the continent, and there will always be altercations. You don't want that to become. I've lost a fan who like, I've heard about a fan who died in a car crash, and it made me feel a long time. It made me feel some type of way. That particular thing, it was my first time of experiencing that, and that was when I also knew that I was actually more connected to the fans beyond just profitability in our relationship.
Right.
Right. So it was very important for us to make sure that we led, even in the thought of togetherness and forgiveness and advancing as a black race or as a people. Yeah.
Right, right. Because I know you and the man MI are both leaders when it comes to the rap community in Nigeria, and it's a fresh breath of fresh air when I see two of you on a track coming together, and so much fire on that track. We should go into that track real quick and come back to the conversation. You're tuning into the Vibe Master JD this morning, Richardine, Bartee, and we have special guest Vector on the show. Afrobeats in the morning. This song right here, Crown of Clay, alongside the man MI.
New music.
My father told me when I was around today. He took me to the river, set me down to pray. Right there in the water to the sound of pain. From the mud he fashioned me a crown of clay. That's why no one can never take the sound away. Took me to the water, set me down to pray. And right there by the river to the sound of pain. From the mud he fashioned me.
Welcome to the bloodline of the black kings. Real life, black scenes, the black church, black thoughts, black sins, Uganda, Bobby Wine, magazines, news flash, but old news like sins. We can't speak, judge me, my jeans. I'm sort of okay, strong but okay, quite mean, but you can't hold the voices. Some of them go bust out. We have way too many voices. This is Clubhouse. I'm African and blessed. I hold it down even when I face the stress. The kind of punches where if you make your face suppress. How many life is it that this is sex? It's big energy when I flex. I think them scared of me, it's my guess. But what's beef to a man from the west? Cowboy, heart to a man with a chest. Cowboy, treasure where I carry deep within, but society is getting in between. The tin long like many limousines, but I did. King know the jabba, people love a bobo. This king is Jaja, story of a slave to a king. And Barack boy where they relate many things. No be like many queens. You see this crown of clay is really a thing.
Only got the grind in my sister. Many water pass before drowning. Nothing shake the strength of a black man. In me, blood of my forefathers in me. Steady chasing that paper daily. All this shit, many they be trying. But all day she dey for my black.
Yes, you're still having conversation with the man Vector, the Viper with the Venoms. Yes, Vector, it's good to have you on the show this morning. Walk us through Crown of Clay, the song itself.
I've always wondered what it would feel like if we took our narrative, if we took it over by ourselves.
Right.
Beyond just what we're being told, beyond what is being written, beyond what they are telling us is historically proven or fact or whatever. Yeah, we get that, but we are the African people now.
Yes.
We are the ones that have all the resources now.
Yes.
The whole world is like, well, yeah, we have a lot of resources that the whole world is tapping into, right? Human resources, natural resources, right? But it almost seems as though we don't really care about those things. To think about it, right? It's also because we're the wealthy spirit. Now we get the spirit of wealth. Like, in Koto Jete, you enjoy your loju now, Abi.
Yes, what belongs to you shouldn't be impressed by what belongs to you. It should be like a norm.
We're not impressed by so this whole oil talk, diamonds and everything. It's not like we're stupid. It's not like we don't know these things are valuable, but it's ours. Like, don't you understand? There's no excitement around it. And we have to start to run those narratives as well. It's fine for there to be historical references, cool. But we have to run those narratives that we are essentially the custodians, like we are by essence, by nature, by right, by birth, by land. We are rich people and we're blessed. We need to start to think that way because it's the lack of that level of thought that makes people who should be thanking us misbehave towards us.
Right.
Right? And if Africa doesn't stand well in the mindset, no black man anywhere in the world is going to be respected.
I agree with you.
Hence, crown of clay. We have to make sure that from home, relating to anybody in the world, they understand that we mean business. It doesn't mean this is not about saying we're the best. No. We're not. I'm not out here to be anything other than myself. But if the best is what myself is, I will be that 100%. And that is what crown of clay is. It's the crown of our essence, without being attached to material or no. No, we are the origin, the owner. Yes, the crown of the owner. Yes, that's what it is.
Yes. For those listening right now, for those that are not Africans, for those that are Africans, for those that watch this on YouTube as well, this is a strong message to you. Remember that you are kings and you are queens. Nothing being done by the foreigners should impress you because you are the source of everything that the world is enjoying. Right. The man Vector, not just talking to the people with his music, he also on his IG once in a while, maybe once in a week. I don't know how often you do that. You do have conversations, letting people, enlightening people about who they really are, what their background is, what stories they are missing out on that are not being told in schools, in churches. Tell us what was the inspiration behind you coming up with that? Was it during the COVID-19 pandemic when it started that you just thought of it that, okay, this is a good time for me to go on live and talk to people about what they don't know about, what they are being misinformed about, what they are ignorant about?
Oh, I wish it was then, but since when I was a kid. So, for example, I'm very honest with myself. I'm honest to the point whereby, even as a Yoruba man, I do not believe the elders are always right.
Right.
Simply because if most leaders that are elders have lied a lot in Africa, are they always right in that phase?
Nope.
So, since when I was a kid, I've always had questions that I was like, but I won't say anything. But I think it kicked heavy for me when I saw the World Trade Center attack and the Beslan attack in Russia. A lot of things in Nigeria has made me wonder, but and now, because as a kid growing up in Africa, you're raised to worship Western ideas.
It's very sad.
I'm there looking at, I'm watching TV and I'm seeing terrorists in Russia and they're holding kids in a school to captive in the gym, and this guy is looking buff, like he's well built, holding a gun, bullets all over his chest, cross, over, under. Who is this guy pointing a gun at? Kids. That made me feel very uncomfortable. Like, it's in Africa, it's been a norm. But this is the Western world that we're supposed to be praising. We're raised to praise. Like, okay, it means there is no perfection there either, right?
Right.
And so a lot of things plus that one started to make me ask a lot of questions. Like, okay, so I know that Africa is being misrepresented constantly. Even this one that you're telling us is perfect, fuck up dinner. So what exactly is the truth, right? So I started to ask myself those questions as a young person, both in African context and Western understanding, or earned Western understanding. And it started to dawn on me that the only thing that I thought was a perfect argument is the argument of spirit. Because spirit is spirit. There's no VIP spirit. There's no regular spirit.
Right.
Spirit. And I started to look into that. So when I got into university, I studied philosophy as well. And we started to have arguments. And then in those arguments, even academically, you realize that whatever it was that Plato and Socrates and all these guys are being told in school to have said, there is adage for it in Yoruba land.
Deep.
Yes, whatever I'm being told in church, there's an adage for it in Yoruba land. There's
Right.
an adage for it in Igbo land. There's an adage for it in Hausa land. That is not academically learned. It's just our way of life.
Right.
I.e., when they say "Ile Latinke Shorode," it means you adorn yourself in your jewelry in your house before you go to the event, right?
Right. Whatever you take out there is what you've learned.
Boom. So is that not the same as a lot of values that we learned in church, for instance?
Exactly.
Like taking care of the home. In this case, if the home is the body of Christ, for example, which is your body and the temple of Christ, isn't it the same as taking care of the temple of Christ?
I agree with you totally.
All these things, it started to make sense to me gradually. And upon studying philosophy, I was like, okay. So there really isn't anything special in humanity other than just humans interacting. Right?
Which is essential.
So I started to ask myself those conscious questions. So that at that understanding of just human beings interacting is where racism doesn't exist. Is where tribalism doesn't exist. And what is the only thing? Say spirit. Some will probably call it soul. They'll probably call it consciousness. But whatever idea you have, I realize that the physical understanding is powerless most times to the spiritual or the ideological understanding or the conscious understanding. Because at the end of the day, that is where I don't find any flaw. Not like the physical understanding should be thrown away. Not like I don't believe in science. But the foundational element that makes a scientist a good person and not kill you with science is in the spirit.
Right.
So, and that is where Africans and their thoughts comes from most of the time. So it dawned on me like, oh, maybe you were supposedly meant to highlight these things, especially if the educational system in Africa is messed, so that we can understand clearly that the value of who we are is not in whatever accolades we get according to one other person's understanding, but in the innermost depth of our feelings as people, right?
Right.
So I started to do this. It wasn't a thing that I planned. It was something that my personal life revolved around. I was just seeing a lot of things. I was seeing a lot of people. I'll hear a lot of arguments that I know deep inside me is faulty. Like, one of the arguments would be that of a gun or that of weapons. Like, no matter how, yes, it protects us, but if we're investing so much in that protection, what about investing in the mental protection?
Right.
So it all just bubbled up, and when the corona hit, yes, the COVID-19 period, it helped us slow down a lot. So the music was not just about club music anymore or dance music anymore.
It was malconscious music.
Everybody in the world, yes. Well, maybe in my reality, most people realize that music was for more than just dancing. Music also helps you think. Music also helps you go through hard times. So it was more evident then for me to now reach out to people, since we're all slowing down now and understanding that something can humble all of us. Bro, Corona shut down Mecca and Jerusalem.
Right. They couldn't do anything. The pastors couldn't do anything. They couldn't pray about changing the whole situation.
There was no miracle happening, but our spirit functioned.
Right. Deep from the man they call Vector. If you're tuning right now, I think you should just go. I'm not saying I think you should go to his IG page, follow him, and so you can get updated on all these conversations. Because I know a lot of people out here are lost. They don't know their background. They don't understand what is going on around there. They just live based on what they've been told, based on what media shows them is what they believe that life should be. Whereas there's a deeper side of it. Like my cousin will always say, the spiritual controls the physical. And you're a spiritual being, you have a soul, you have a spirit in you that should direct you. I don't want to go deep into all these things right now, else we'll just be here till 11 a.m. in the morning, because I know my man Vector's got more gems to drop. Let's go into the track. It just dropped yesterday, actually, Obedience. The first part of that track carry the message, a very heavy message. And that's one thing about me with music that moves me towards a song is the message in the song. I enjoy music that makes you dance, but I bend towards songs and music that actually has a message to people. Tell us about the song Obedience.
So Obedience is it's funny because I met Jason Graham in Atlanta, Georgia. He reached out online because he was also trying to pass knowledge that he had learned from, say, being somebody involved in the arts in America.
Right.
For some funny reason, we got talking, and he introduced me to a bunch of guys who are into the comic world, and they're called the Omniverse, and they're an American company of, say, black people who are making comics. But this particular comic, Redemption, I don't know about the rest because I've not really checked their other comics, but this particular comic titled Redemption is a comic that comes with African understanding to reading comics. But not just African because we are trying to be overflog and be Wakanda forever.
Right.
About it. No shade to that. It is that I think I like the fact that there are American brothers and sisters who understand that somehow, some way, in the depths of whatever Africa represents, there is knowledge that is deeper about life or everyday life. So when they reached out, they wanted us to make a record for the body of work, the project. And I was supposed to make a record on obedience. And I knew, like, all we've always heard is trust and obey, but there's no other way we have to trust and obey.
Right.
But deeper than that, right, I wanted to communicate my message to the world via that medium, but also to show that if you obey your spirit, every other thing will fall in place.
Right.
In the obedience of the spirit is where you find the comfort that, say, the Bible or the Quran has promised you. Like, because then you're very, very in tune with the self or with the inner self and the voice of the inner self. So it's not about, say, for example, African Americans coming to Africa based on what the news says about Africa. Is really, really legit communicating with Africans to know what the truth about Africa is, how myself and Jason Graham already did. And you can't do that if you do not obey the true spirit of your inner life.
Right. You don't know who you are.
And that's why we made the record Obedience.
Yes, I listened to the first part of the song like 7 times this morning before I left home. I was just enjoying the fact that you were saying what you were saying at the beginning. Let's go into that record real quick and come back and wrap up this interview. There's a lot to say about the man Vector. I think I'm going to bring him back again when he drops a new record. Any plans of dropping an EP, an album this year, in the new quarter?
Yeah, I'm dropping an album this year. The album is titled Teslim. Teslim was my late father's name, who passed in 2017. But then it also is an acronym. The acronym is The Energy Still Lives in Me.
Right. I know you always put that up on your social as well, Teslim. From way back, I've always seen you put Teslim up. So I'm not surprised that you're naming your album
Teslim. Is the
Teslim.
first single off it. Crown of Clay is the second single off it. Obedience is not the single on the project simply because it was made for the Omniverse project.
Right.
But yeah, we've commenced. The third single is dropping soon. We're making a trip because we're also traveling to African countries and doing business with African countries. Artists over there, like, pretty much intertwine, mix, and value each other properly. So when that is ready, I'm sure we'll be on your show again.
Yes, let's go into that track real quick. Obedience by the man Vector for the project Omniverse. You should get to see that as well. Check that out. The man Vector, Obedience. Afrobeats in the morning, VIBEMASTER JD. Let's go.
Sometimes you just have to let the power
New music.
take control. Sometimes you just have to let the powers that be take control. Sometimes you just have to let the powers that be take control.
Listen to the message.
Sometimes you just have to let the powers that be take control. Oh, they're yours, by the way.
V87.
It's okay. If it doesn't
New music.
been searching, searching, searching. What more can I say? Utolalishe, just trust and obey. Please don't fight it, please don't fight it. Let it act this way. Utolalishe, just trust and obey. Yeah, just trust and obey. Yeah. Just trust and obey. Please don't fight it. Just trust and obey. Please don't fight it. Please don't fight it.
Look, trust and obey, no other way. Africa to the world, that's what they say. When you feel like the Hulk or featherweight, pull a trick on your mind and celebrate. It's so good, now win-win. If win, turn person, we go win-win. And if I know win, the lesson way I learned from the loss of my win. Flexing on the gym, made me, I know they were. I surrender to the purpose of my being, not the image of the cover magazine. I go hard for the thoughts in my head. Bring bang like Peruzzi when I sing. I hope God will forgive me all my sins. The blue film getting many scenes, many scenes, many scenes. Yapa, I've been searching, searching, searching. What more can I say? Scenes. Yapa, Utolalishe, just trust and obey. Please don't fight it, please don't fight it. Let it have this way. Utolalishe, just trust and obey.
Yes, trust and obey. That's the message. Obey your spirits. I'm going to cue it on the trust and obey parts. I will get to wrap up this interview with the man Vector. Vector the Viper. With all the venoms and the gems on all the songs. You should take a listen to all his projects from way back. From Champion to Obedience. Yes, Vector. I have one question for you before I let you go this morning. What would be your advice? Actually, two questions. What would be your advice to you? You already said that before. What would you say is one thing that needs to change in the African music scene for rap music to be accepted more? I know in South Africa they really enjoy rap music, but on the west side of Africa it's more of the jollof rice music. We're happy people anyway, so we love the happy music. And I know you always put out happy songs as well, even though it's rap, and you put out the puns and the word plays in them. But for those that are up and coming and they are going into this drill rap, because the new generation is going to drill rap and grime and the rest of them, what would be one thing you think that can change the narrative and make more Africans enjoy rap music by Africans?
I guess, like I said to you, we were raised to praise and worship everything Western. But my only advice is don't be afraid to be your entire self. Don't be afraid to be your Western self.
Right.
So, but also don't be afraid to be your African self, because don't get it twisted. Existence in itself as a whole is beautiful, whether Western or African. Right. So don't be afraid to be any part of yourself. So if you're a rapper and you know Alujo, Alaye, don't worry yourself. As long as that's who you are, that's fine. Rap will be fine. All over the world, rap is not as accepted as the other genres of music, for example. But it still thrives. I'm good, I'm okay, I'm blessed, I'm content. So be your entire self and be content with who you are. You'll be fine.
Yes, you just heard that. Be content with who you are. Me, I don't change my African accent. I still speak like an African brother, like a Yoruba man. I don't care if you say I sound so Nigerian. You have to understand what I'm saying. If I can understand what you are saying in your own language, and I'm speaking your own language that is not my own language, I have to learn it. My own language is Yoruba. You need to understand I'm speaking to you, because I'm not speaking something different. That means you're not the one that is not understanding me. If I can understand you, you self supposed to understand me. Yes, one word to those listening right now before we let you go. Vector the Viper with all the venoms. Trust and obey.
Blessings.
Just trust and obey.
So you want me to say something before you leave? I think I did that already.
I mean, what message do you have to the listeners tuning right about now? I want you to give them your social as well so they can follow you and hear more stories, because you've been dropping gems this morning for them, and I'm sure a lot of people are taking notes right now, and they're going to your social as well to go and check on the man Vector and learn more. But what message do you have for them in particular before I let you go, as well as your social?
Oh yeah, okay. So my socials will be Vector the Viper. That's at VECTORCHAVIPER. And that's on Instagram and Twitter. Every other place I may be sketchy on those. But yes, everybody listening, I wish you blessings. I wish you understanding. I wish you love. I wish you life. Bless up, I guess.
Yes, bless up by the man they call Vector. Let's go back to that track, Trust and Obey. Vector, thank you for coming on the show this morning. I can't wait to have you back again when you drop your project. Stay blessed, brother. More wisdom, more strength. Keep enlightening the youths. Blessings.
Sometimes you just have to let the powers that be take control. Oh, they're yours.
New music.
Inside of you. It's okay. If it doesn't feel right, you'll learn from it. I've been searching. What more can I say? Shit. Just trust and obey. Please don't fight it. Let it happen this way. Shit. Just trust and obey. Yeah. Just trust and obey. Yeah. Just trust and obey. Please don't fight it. Just trust and obey. Please don't fight it. Please don't fight it. Look, trust and obey, no other way. Africa to the world, that's what they say. When you feel like the Hulk or featherweight, pull a trick on your mind and celebrate. It's so good, now win-win. If win, turn person, we go win-win. And if I know win, the lesson way I learned from the loss of my weakness. Jim made me, I know they were. I surrender to the purpose of my being, not the image of the cover magazine. I go hard for the thoughts in my head. Bring bang like Peruzzi when I sing. I hope God will forgive me all my sins. The blue film getting many scenes. Many scenes. Many scenes. I've been searching. What more can I say? Many scenes. What all I this shit. Just trust and obey. Please don't fight it. Let it happen this way. What all I this shit. Just trust and obey. Yeah, just trust and obey. Yeah, just trust and obey. Please don't fight it. Just trust and obey. Please don't fight it. Please don't fight it.
It's the Rock with VIBEMASTER DJ J this Saturday morning. Shout out to my Francophone people. Shout out to my Beninoan brother, Joe Kingston. How you doing this morning? Here we go.
J'ai fait un vœu et c'est toi que je veux. Tellement peur d'avouer mes sentiments, je joue le jeu. T'es dans mes yeux, tellement d'amour à te donner. Je veux te le dire, mais moi je me connais. J'ai peur de me prendre râteau, de me planter, que mes plans tombent tous à l'eau. À l'eau t'es où je me jette à l'eau. Tellement vu de choses dans cette vie que je vis chaque instant comme si c'était ma dernière vie. Je suis pas Mario, je n'ai pas 3 vies. Moi je rappe comme si ça dépendait de ma vie. C'est vrai on se connaît mais moi j'ai peur de déconner. T'as va maîtriser mes colères, toi et moi ça va coller yeah. C'est vrai on se connaît mais moi j'ai peur de déconner. T'as va maîtriser mes colères, toi et moi ça va coller yeah. C'est vrai on se connaît mais moi j'ai peur de déconner. T'as va maîtriser mes colères, toi et moi ça va coller yeah. C'est vrai on se connaît mais moi j'ai peur de déconner. T'as va maîtriser mes colères, toi et moi ça va coller yeah. Tout droit dans les yeux, je t'ai promis d'être heureuse. Faire le tour du monde, jamais s'arrêter, on fera une pause quand on sera vieux, toi et moi et que nous deux. Ça ira mieux, je te promets si tu veux. C'est pas un jeu, moi je t'aime pour de vrai. C'est toi que je veux, moi je reste toujours près de toi. Même si ma musique me pousse loin de toi, je serai toujours aussi fou de toi. Allons à Caracas, braquant des banques, direction Bahamas pour tout dépenser. Ton amour est comme une carapace. Chérie c'est sur toi, je veux tout dépenser. C'est vrai on se connaît mais moi j'ai peur de déconner. T'as va maîtriser mes colères, toi et moi ça va coller yeah. C'est vrai on se connaît mais moi j'ai peur de déconner. T'as va maîtriser mes colères, toi et moi ça va coller yeah. C'est vrai on se connaît mais moi j'ai peur de déconner. déconner, ta voix maîtrise mes colères, toi et moi ça va coller, yeah. C'est bon on se connaît, mais moi j'ai peur de déconner, ta voix maîtrise mes colères, toi et moi ça va coller, yeah. Ça va coller, ça va coller, ça va coller, yeah. Ça va coller, ça va coller, ça va coller, yeah. Ça va coller, ça va coller, ça va coller, yeah. Ça va coller, ça va coller, ça va coller, yeah. Ça va coller, ça va coller, ça va coller, yeah. Ça va coller, ça va coller, ça va coller, yeah. Ça va coller, ça va coller, ça va coller, yeah.
B87 check.
Show us some Liberian brother right here, Cyrus. Yes, check out the lingo. Afrobeats in the morning, VIBEMASTER way. Lingo.
Check the lingo. New music.
Show me that you want it. Yeah. Let this chama talking freaky, so I chop it. Yeah. She not scared, she not playing, she right there on it. Yeah. She let my Bennett by when she talking slang, talking. Check the lingo, check the lingo. Keep it real than the most. Got my people, check the lingo, check the lingo. Hold up, relay. If for real, we don't want to cut it out anyway. We gon' turn this shit out anyway. Check the lingo, check the lingo. Check the lingo. Let me talk to you. Check my lingo. I speak in Kolo. They say my verses keep you full. Kobo. Them men is so. And not the ego. The thought I rest like every chizo. Yeah. Chamo cercle pour le telo. Si un player that don't meno. C'est mon level is just 40. If you try picking, you pour it. Get it today, I find that so porn. Go to let me scroll that open. On the sparkle lies and the smoke loose. All my June and check the lingo. Check the lingo. Keep it real than the most. Got my people. Check the lingo. Check the lingo. Hold up, relay. If for real, we don't want to. This is the new B87.
Yes, big shouts to everybody that's tuning in this morning. Afrobeats in the morning goes down every Saturday. I'm at the Sport Lounge tonight for Afrobeats, Best of African Music. To wrap up the show this morning, before I say that, we also had Vector on the show this morning, and next week we'll also have a special guest. Big shout out to yourself for tuning in this morning. Later tonight, I'm at the Sport Lounge with Afrobeats, Best of African Music, vibes, good music, good food, happy people. To wrap up the show this morning with the right energy and celebrating all the women globally is a song by the man Bugsy Lee, the Dragon, coming with this fire called Lady. Stay blessed.
Bugsy.
Make sure you get vaccinated as well. Let's save ourselves. Don't be discouraged.
New music.
the official voice of B87.7. I'm with you. Whatever I say, y'all gotta do. Now